Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Yolanda Melody. So today we're going to do a little bit of a different video to my usual. I really wanted to talk about this breaking news that I'm seeing all over the headlines. Will there be UK blackouts this winter? Is the question. In this video, we're going to talk about how likely I think this is. Obviously, as this is quite a big, hot topic at the moment, or it will be, I really wanted to talk about this as soon as possible and get this video up. I first heard about this a few days ago from my friend. She said she was driving back home from work and an announcement came up on the radio saying that UK blackouts could be coming very soon, and that if we did have these blackouts it would be between 4 PM and 7 PM. And then they just ended it with, but it's not very likely, so don't worry about it. Which I just think is quite ridiculous in of itself. Why bring something up and then retract it? But as we all know, the news does this all the time. They put the feelers out and then they retract the statement. However, over the past 2 years, I've been noticing so many patterns with the news. And I have come to the conclusion that whenever they post one of these sensational stories about what could happen or what might happen, what they're basically saying is, it's planned, it's in the post, it's gonna happen, and we're just giving you a little bit of a warning about it. I always say never rest on your laurels. If you've been given a warning about something, it might feel uncomfortable, but the best thing to do is to actually just prepare, just in case it happens, as opposed to burying your head in the sand and thinking, oh well, it's just definitely not going to happen. Like, that couldn't happen. It's too horrific. Anyway, so my friend told me this a few days ago, and then I type it in on Google and I find that there's loads of articles about this, and then I go on YouTube and more people are talking about it. So I'm just going to briefly read through this article, not the whole thing, just, you know, the main parts. And then afterwards, what I'm going to do is give you guys as much advice as I physically can, some tips on how I'm preparing, and I also just want to raise the vibe because many people, including myself, are feeling really bogged down by all of this crap. So I want to give as much of a light-hearted take on it as I physically can, so yeah. Okay, let's get into it. So the national grid could impose blackouts between 4 PM and 7 PM on the coldest days in January and February as part of a worst case scenario if Britain cannot import enough gas from Europe. Right, I'm just going to be real here. I do not think for a second that this is an uncontrollable situation. I believe that the whole of this is planned, it's deliberate, it's part of the Great Reset, and the media always need to have some form of scapegoat so that people have the glory of putting the blame onto an external factor. But anyway, National Grid's chief executive has warned that blackouts could be ordered between 4 PM and 7 PM on really cold weekdays this winter if gas imports from Europe are reduced. So as I'm reading through this article, I'm just finding paragraph after paragraph of exactly the same statement, just in a different way. It's kind of like hypnosis, you know how they use repetition to drill something into someone's mind. That's what this is feeling like right now. And then it says here, much of Europe is currently facing an energy crisis caused by Russia restricting gas exports in response to sanctions imposed following the country's invasion of Ukraine. Gotta be careful what you say on here because so many things trigger the algorithm and people can think that it is because of this situation that they're purporting, you know, but it doesn't change the fact that the Gov are planning to do this. And me personally, I'm not really interested in what they have to say about why or how this is happening. What I want to know is, okay, how am I going to survive? What am I going to do to make sure that if or when this happens, I am as comfortable as physically possible? Well, the silver lining is that if they do turn the electricity off or the gas for 3 hours, at least you're not going to be paying for the electricity or the gas because it won't be on. I have been stocking up on tea lights for the past 2 years, and an interesting thing that I've noticed is that the price of tea lights is suddenly creeping up. Along with the inflation, okay, fair enough, everything's going up, but tea lights in particular are going up quite a bit. And this was before this announcement. So what that tells me is that the more people that know about this, the more that the resources are going to cost more money. A few months ago, if you went into the shop, you could probably get 100 tea lights for £1, £2. Now, when I say shop, I mean certain shops like Poundland. Primark also do cheap tea lights, just so that you know. But it's better late than never. If you're going to do anything to prepare, the first thing that I would say is to go out, get some tea lights, and then at least you'll be able to see. The next thing that I would do is make sure that all of my devices are charged. I don't like to encourage the use of technology, even though I'm a YouTuber. But I'm always promoting being organised. So if you're a person that likes to be on their device in the evenings, just make sure it's charged. But if you've got the tea lights and you care about your mental health, you could always just read a book during that time. Now, I really hate the fact that I'm encouraging people to just deal with this situation. If there was an idea that I had that could actually defeat this from happening, I would tell you. Another thing to note that's quite interesting is that they are actually incentivising people prior to these blackouts to voluntarily switch their power off for 3 hours in the evening. Obviously, they're giving discount incentives, like discount on your energy bill. Now, I will say this, I wouldn't take the bait. The gov, I've got to find another word for it because I know it's going to trigger the algorithm. The dogheads. The dogheads are putting out so many incentives for people to voluntarily adapt to the Great Reset. For example, getting a smart meter. If you have been asked to get a smart meter and you haven't got one, do not get one. Please, please don't. It's a trap. You think it's going to save you some money in the short term and you think it's a good idea because they're trying to sell it to you. And then once they've got you by the balls, those energy bills are going to go up. All throughout this time, all I've been doing is trying to get used to living in a more old-fashioned, natural state and becoming less and less reliant on the system. So that's why I say about the tea lights, you know, that's what people did in the olden days. It worked for them, you know, it's not as convenient, but at least you're not spending that much money. Okay, so on to the gas situation, which is a lot more serious. So my heating is actually run by oil, so I don't have gas central heating. However, if you've seen the oil prices lately, it's a struggle. I, like many people, are preparing to have a very cold winter, or rather preparing to ration my heating, because as you can see, the prices are absolutely ridiculous. So if you're a person that relies on gas central heating and they're planning on doing these cuts between 4 and 7, that basically means that you're not going to have heating between those times. So logically, what I would do is ramp the heating up, if you can afford to, ramp it up before the cut, obviously, heat the house up. Once you've got everything heated up, it's easier to maintain. Make sure that every door and window is shut, obviously. And if you can, insulate the windows. So I've seen some videos on YouTube of people putting bubble wrap on their windows. And while that is an option, I think it would also benefit just to keep the blinds shut, because the more barriers that you have between the cold and the inside, the harder it's going to be for the cold to get in. I think I am going to do a dedicated video about how to stay warm during this winter, and I'll compile all of my tips. But for now, what I'm going to recommend is blankets, blankets, blankets. Not just blankets though. Making sure that you are kept warm yourself is going to make life a hell of a lot more comfortable. So, always wear socks. Maybe wear 2 sets of socks. You'd be surprised how warm that actually makes you. Maybe wear 2 sets of socks and slippers. And as for what to wear, I recently invested in a few jumpers that are like that teddy material. I got a really thick one from Depop for like £12. This hoodie / jumper has kept me so warm. Literally, I can walk outside. I don't feel the cold at all. And trust me, I'm a very cold person. Not inside, but on the outside. I get cold really easily. I hate it. It's the worst feeling in the world. You know when they talk about hell and they say that hell is like loads of fire and burning and everyone's hot I actually think that's wrong. I think that hell is like an iceberg. Hell is definitely cold. Anywho, it's better to maintain temperature than to try and get temperature up, if you get what I mean. So the main objective is, once you've got heat, whether it's on your body or in the house, keep it as long as you can. I'd also recommend hot water bottles. They're a really good resource. And I suppose just make sure that if they do these power cuts, if they actually do them, and we have no choice but to deal with it, then just make sure that you use all of your electrical appliances outside of those times. So get everything done before 4 o'clock, or schedule out between that time what you're gonna do. Notice how I say only do this if they actually do the power cuts, but don't give in to their incentives. If you can use your power during those times, then use it. Okay, so those were my tips. I'll probably do another video about this if you guys like this type of content, where it's just more casual, where I'm just chatting about current things that are going on. So the channel update. I'm going to keep this as brief as possible, but I was experiencing a serious mental block, like a creative block. For the past few weeks or months, I've started to feel more and more confused about what direction my channel's going in, what content do people want, what do I want to talk about, and I had all this stuff running through my mind. And then today I just had a spark of inspiration and I felt like everything was coming together. The truth is that I am in survival mode at the moment. I have been for the past 2 years, to be honest. I'm just expecting serious chaos within the world. I'm seeing things unfold and I'm seeing the spiritual reasons behind it, but I'm also thinking that until the rapture happens, I'm in this. Like, I'll just be real with you guys. I am expecting the apocalypse to happen, right? But in the meantime, I've got to survive, and so have you guys. And honestly, I've just been thinking to myself, what content do people want to see? What content can I make that's actually going to be of some value and some help to people? Like, seriously? But at the same time, doesn't aggravate the YouTube overlords. I've been saying this for so long on my channel. I've got to be really careful about what I say. I can't say this, I can't say that. There's basically a whole dictionary of things that I cannot say on this channel because of the nature of the platform. However, what I can do is I can talk about the current events. I can give you guys a more light-hearted approach that's less doom and gloom and more positive, productive. What I want to do is take the bad and turn it into good. And instead of focusing on all the negative aspects of, you know, these Satanists and what they're doing, why not just look at it objectively, see it for what it is, and then say, okay, that's going on. What am I going to do about it? What can we do about it? I'm not interested in dwelling in problems and drowning in sorrow. I want to build something meaningful. I want to build community with like-minded people, like you guys. This channel is going to be going through a little bit of a rebranding. Expect to see some exciting changes over the next few weeks. Bear in mind also, you guys know that I like to stack up my content. I still have content stacked up from weeks and weeks ago of filming. But over the next 2 months, everything on my channel will all start to come together. I'm still going to be doing videos of me talking to the camera, like, obviously, but every now and then I'll post a video like this. So yeah, I'm going to stop talking. I'm still in the process of organising my ideas so that it all comes together nicely. But anyway, if you enjoyed this video, please comment below. Don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the notification bell. Love you, bye!